Hi, I'm Lee Iridium. I've got the guys with me today. I've got Jam. How you doing, Jam?
All right, mate. How are you? How's Mark? All right?
Man, we're doing good.
Good. It's been a while, lads, since anyone's been on. We haven't got together and done any All Killer for a little while. That's coming back. We are meaning to round up the years as well, but we're going to do a new show at the moment. This is a new one. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I know this gets done on other YouTube channels as well, but fuck it. We want to do it. So we're doing a classic album battle. So picking two albums, and you know what I was thinking about this particular show is two albums from the same band, but you don't even have to be that. It could be two albums from different bands. But I would say if you're going to do that, they have to be very similar sort of albums you're talking about. Do you know what I mean? Maybe from the same era, around that time. But we're doing the mighty Sabbath today. Not only the mighty Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio, the best singer in the whole world. Yeah. Whether you agree with that or not, it's my show, so he is the best. All right. So, so the two albums we're talking about, because I think they're probably the closest even every fan could probably think of the two Sabbath albums, Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. 1 year after each other, they came out. Obviously, Ozzy had left the band. Ronnie James Dio joined. So, Heaven and Hell, just a quick run through. This is really quick stuff to tell you. It's 39 minutes and 46 seconds long. Came out on 25th of April 1980 on Vertigo. Produced by Martin Birch. 9th studio album. Platinum in the US. It went silver in the UK. The classic lineup, you would say the classic lineup apart from Ozzy. So you got Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, Ronnie James Dio, and some keyboards by Jeff Nichols. I was reading some of the just on Wiki. I don't think he was mentioned on the actual main band, was he? Because I remember the picture on the back of the album, just the four of them. So. No. And then you had Mob Rules that came out the following year on the 4th of November, 1981. 10th studio album, obviously, 40 minutes and 36 seconds long. So a little bit, not a lot in it, but about a minute longer. Martin Birch again producing. It went gold in the US and it went silver in the UK, so not quite as successful as Heaven and Hell. And Vinny Appice was on drums on this one. So Bill Ward had gone, and Vinny Appice, obviously, he went on to work with Dio after that as well, and the solo stuff. So, I mean, it's a bit weird. I don't know about you guys. Before we start, what we're going to do is we're going to each go around the houses and rank the tracks. I'm going to give them a score out of 10. Then I'm going to add them up. And we'd get an average of the album, and that wins the battle. That's just as simple as it gets. But I don't know about you guys, but when you break tracks down, it can work out. It has for me when I'm ranking albums from other bands and other shows. It can work out. You can get a bit of a surprise, like if you do it separately, the tracks, because you can have an overall feel about an album, can't you? Yeah, I definitely like the album. But when you actually break the tracks down, you could score the tracks higher, and it could win that battle. But you could still prefer putting that original one on because it's got an overall feel, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does or not. But
yeah, I mean, I've totaled mine up as well, and I thought I'd probably prefer one to the other, and it actually totaling up, it's actually doing it on a percentage wise. It was really, really, really close, so I was quite surprised as well. So definitely.
Yeah, cool. No, that's cool. So we're going to go around the hours. Is there anything you want to add before we go into each track? No,
I'm good right now.
Cool. So this would be the first album battle, the Sabbath one. What better way to start, eh? One of the biggest bands in metal, obviously. So, Mark, you're going to go first with each track. We're chipping. It'll go Mark, Jam, and then myself. We'll give it a little rundown how much we like the track and a score. I'm going to make those notes as we go. So, Mark, kick us off, mate. Heaven and Hell. Oh, we're going to alternate albums as well. We're not comparing against each other. Just to make it more interesting, we're going to go Heaven and Hell first, then Mob Rules, track one, and then until we get to the end. All right? Okay, Mark, we've got Neon Nights from Heaven and Hell.
Yeah, I had to think about this a little bit when we decided to do this because I've never actually ranked or scored album track by track like you do all the time on your channel. usually I either love the song, I don't like it, or it's a good song that, you know, I like it but don't love it. But I never have really thought about, you know, score wise. So I had to think about some of these. But Neon Nights was kind of a no-brainer. 10 out of 10. I mean, straight out of the gate. This song was their debut with Dio. First song you hear when you put Heaven and Hell on, it just kicks you in the teeth. Very fast paced, just get your attention right away. And you know right away, this is not the tired Sabbath from the Never Say Die era. This is a band with newfound determination and spirit, and front man that roars like a lion, and take no prisoners kind of song, just straight out of the gate. Very fast gallop to it. I just, you know, it's when I think of Dio era Sabbath, it's one of the first songs that pops into my head. I can't give it anything other than a full 10.
And you've got to remember, we spoke about this before it came online. The way we score songs as well, we could, like, I sort of a bit harder probably on scores in general when I'm scoring stuff. So, you know, Mark might score naturally high, but you're going to score naturally high on all the songs, aren't you? And I might score naturally low on all the songs. So it won't work out it'll still work out right, if that makes sense. But a 10 out of 10, yeah, what an amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, you said it. I you know, this is my favorite band of all time, Black Sabbath. I love all eras. So it's kind of hard for me if a song doesn't quite measure up for me. It's kind of hard for me to give them a low score, but you know, occasionally it does happen, even with the best, you know, bands out there. So
definitely,
we'll see how it goes here.
Right, 10 from Mark. What you got then, Jam?
I haven't really got much more to add on the song. It's a classic, isn't it? Yeah, they play it, well, when Dio was in the band, they play it live all the time. Very fast opening song. Great opener, although controversial. I think I would have picked a different song to open the album if I was doing it, which I will mention when we get there. But yeah, brilliant song. Love it. I've given it 8 out of 10.
Cool. Yeah, but guys, you sort of said it all, really. I mean, my actual score, I love the fucking song. Absolutely love it. But it's almost like when I was thinking about the score on this, and as I go along, I think about songs that I will give a 10 to, and I'm sort of comparing it. Is it quite as good?
Yeah.
And sort of, you know what I mean? Because it's just hard. So I've actually given it the same as Jam. I've given it an 8, and that's a fucking good score for me because I'm very, very hard probably on scores altogether. So it's got a 10 from Mark, an 8 from me and you, Jam. So
yeah.
Excellent opening track, like you said. This was the new Sabbath, completely different sound like a new band, really. Lyrically as well, you know, everything about them just changed. That's brilliant. Okay, guys, excellent. So then we go to Mob Rules, and we got the opening track on Mob Rules, which is Turn Up the Night.
Yeah, this one, it almost sounds like they were trying to duplicate Neon Nights with this song. I don't know how closely you've listened to the intros on both of those songs, but you really got to pay attention to know which one is which, you know, when the intro kicks off. They obviously were going for the same formula. All right, let's start the album off with a barn burner fast number. And I don't know if it was their intention or not, but like I said, Turn Up the Night sounds a lot like Neon Nights. It almost sounds like they were trying to make Neon Nights Part 2. I mean, even the title, Turn Up the Night, you know, as opposed to Neon Nights. I can't quite put it in the same realm as Neon Nights. So that one I'm going to give a 7.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. What you got then, Jam?
Yeah, I've got to get this another fast one opening the album, isn't it? Once again, I wouldn't have picked this to open the album, but I'll talk about that later. I think it's a bit generic, and I don't think I like the riff that much. I think it's one of the worst songs on the album. Actually, I don't like it that much. That said, it's still a good song, but I've given it 6 out of 10.
Okay. I love this song. I really like it. This is a big part of me growing up, I suppose, this song. I mean, it was one of the standout tracks. It was a single when we used to buy singles. So I think my brother had this as a single, and I love it. I think it's a great track. It's so close for me to Neon Nights. I don't mean in sound, and I do agree with you, Mark, by the way. It's got that definite feel of Neon Nights.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so close to me as a quality song like Neon Nights. I've also given it an 8. Absolutely love the song. So an 8 from me, a 7 from Mark, and a 6 from Jam. Okay. We're going back to
I remember that when we did our Sabbath top songs, that was your number 1 pick from Mob Rules, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I love it. It wasn't actually my number 1 pick from Mob Rules because I've got that coming, but it was close. It was in my top 10 though. It was in my top 10.
Okay.
But yeah. But I do love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, back to Heaven and Hell. We got the Mighty Children of the Sea.
Yeah, definitely one of the most epic songs they ever did. The meaning of this song, I did some research back when we did our Heaven and Hell review. It kind of predated all the Save the Planet stuff that's so popular now. Dio intended this song to be a warning about how we're destroying the planet and how we need to, think about what we're doing. In the lyrics, once you know what he meant, when you listen to the lyrics, it does grab you. The world is falling down. The sky is turning black. Just his way of phrasing things. But I thought it for 1980. I mean, yeah, Greenpeace was around and all that back then, but it wasn't like it is now, where everybody. Global warming this and climate change that. He was well ahead of his time in his thinking, but another great song. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I got to give it a 10. I will say I do prefer the live version from Live Evil. It's more powerful. And Lee, you've mentioned this many times. That was the first Sabbath album I bought, so that's the first version of this song, or a lot of these songs, that I ever heard. And you do sometimes tend to gravitate toward the first one you hear, and that may be part of the reason, but just the power in his voice in that live version kind of took it to another level over the studio version. But great song.
Very cool, mate. What you got in, Jam?
Oh yeah, well, this is a classic song. I love this song. One of my favourite Dio era Sabbath songs. As Mark says, it's really epic feel to it. Although it's not particularly long. It's 5-6 minutes, I think, isn't it? 7 minutes possibly. I love the acoustic opening start to the track, and one of my favourite songs on the album. But I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you said it, guys. Epic. I mean, this sort of went on the blueprint of Dio, what he was all about as well, didn't it? Them quiet parts, him singing all gently, and then going rock the power in it as well after that. I am going with a 9 as well. Love the track. Absolutely brilliant. It's a 9 from me, and that's a fucking good score for me as well. So it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so that's a 10, a 9, and a 9. Next track off of Mob Rules, we've got Voodoo.
Yeah, Voodoo is I don't want to say it was a slightly lesser song, but it's definitely one you don't hear as much about, from that era. Might have been a little bit filler, compared to some of the other stuff on it, but still a good, strong track. I'm going to give it a 7.
All right. Yeah. Okay, Jam.
Yeah, slightly slower pace to turn up the night. I think it's a better riff actually in this. I prefer this, and it picks up about halfway through, and the chorus is pretty good. I think I prefer it to turn up the night. So, but it's not one of the best songs on there. But I'm going to give it a 7.
Cool. I mean, this almost had this could have been an Aussie type riff, I think, on this one. couldn't it? It had that sort of sound to it, maybe. I do like it. I think it's a really strong song. I'm going to give it a 7.5. So we did say at the beginning we could give 0.5s, but you guys I don't think are. But I find it quite difficult not to separate tracks sometimes. So I've got a 7.5 on there. Okay, back to Heaven and Hell, Lady Evil.
Okay. I'm going to revise what I said. I am going to give I just made a last minute decision. I am going to add a 0.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Because what you said just made sense. If I was comparing this song with a couple others, I do prefer it a little more. So I'm gonna give Lady Evil a 7.5. This is a song I've said before. It sounds like something Ronnie possibly could have brought from the Rainbow era. He had that, mentioned it many times, he had that fascination with the magical, mystical women. And, this song kind of reminds me of, something they would have done with Rainbow, maybe, like Lady of the Lake and Tarot Woman. And,
yeah, I agree.
Fits in that same vein, but, whether he brought any of that from Rainbow or not, I don't know. Could be all new ideas, but he brought that fascination with the witchy women, with him. So, but yeah, good song. Not quite up with the ones that I love on the album, but I do, like it a lot, obviously.
Agreed. Okay. Cheers, mate. 7.5. What you got in, Jam?
Yeah, it's sort of a mid-place plodding song, isn't it? It's got quite a good groove to it. I quite like it. It's got a good outro as well, the guitar outro, but it's not one of my favourites on the album, so I could only give it a 6, I'm afraid.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like I sort of agree with everything you guys say. It is, when you think about Heaven and Hell as a whole, this song and maybe a couple more just ain't as strong, are they, as some of the others? And look, you're right about the groove as well. It's almost like a funky sort of groove to it. It's got a real cool sound to it, but obviously it's not got that metal feel as much as it. But it's quite commercial or catchy, whatever you want to say. I've given a 7 to Lady Evil. Okay, back to Mob Rules. Talk about epic songs. Got the Sign of the Southern Cross.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites of the Dio era. Again, I do prefer the live Evil version. He just put more grit in his voice in that live version, and it was a little more impactful the way he sang it on the live version. But an absolutely brilliant song. I love the title. I've tried to decipher the true meaning of this song over the years, and I really can't figure out what he was trying to say, if he was trying to say anything. I mean, he was let's be honest, he was a wordsmith. He had a way of putting words together that I think makes the listener interpret the song, in his own way. The three of us may listen to the song and have a totally different opinion on what the meaning of this song or any other Dio song is. So I think that was kind of his intent, was to let the listener, inject their own meaning into the song. It's not as obvious as some of the other songs what the meaning was. I mean, the Southern Cross, for anybody watching that doesn't know, is a constellation of stars that is visible south of the equator. And it's just a cool title for a song, and you can twist and turn it to whatever you want it to mean. But anyway, I'm babbling. But I got to give it a 10.
Got 10, nice, cool, mate. What you got then, Jam?
Yeah, I mean, you can't add any more to it. It's a classic song, isn't it? It's epic, as we just talked about. It's up there with the next track we're going to talk about on the first album as two of the best songs on the album, and this is a 10 from me all the way. Nice. Excellent song.
Very nice. I love this song. I mean, you're right. Lyrically, you're totally right. You would think that everything that Dio wrote was fantasy, wouldn't you? Everything. but there's so much more to it than that. And you know, when he talks about, for instance, just an example, killing the dragon, for instance, on the Dio album, it's probably something completely different. It's more killing something else, you know, something else that maybe a world leader or something like that. You know what I mean? It could mean that. It's just mad, the lyrics, but they always seem like it's fantasy, but it's just his way of doing it. I love this song. It's fucking brilliant. One of the best songs on the album. I'm not going to give it quite a 10 though. I'm going to go a 9. It's really epic. I've got to admit it. But for me, there's just better on this album still for me. So, but it's fucking brilliant. What an amazing vocal performance as usual. But love the doomy feel of it, the plod. Do you know what I mean? The plod, when you say something's plodding, it's usually not good, but on here it's just fantastic. And
I don't know, when you're talking about Sabbath, that's kind of their
thing, their doomy plod.
Kind of their thing, you know. Yeah. When I hear plodding, I think of Sabbath, so that doesn't turn me off at all.
No. I like it when it goes slow. That sort of slow pace. It's brilliant. Okay, some good scores there, guys. So we do go back though to Heaven and Hell and the title track.
Right, this has got to be the signature song of this lineup. You know, probably. I think even every solo show Ronnie ever played, he probably played Heaven and Hell. So I mean, it was his signature song, probably his, you know, in his mind, his masterpiece. Little bit overplayed. Not that I ever saw him. You know, I never got to see Sabbath with Dio, unfortunately. I saw him solo. But, you know, every live recording you hear, obviously, Heaven and Hell is on it. You still, at least around here, occasionally I even still hear it on the radio. Not too often, but that and one other song you do occasionally hear. So a little bit overplayed. So I'm going to give it a 9. I originally was going to give it a 10, but when I compare it to some of the others, I do prefer the others just a little bit. Just one little thing I'll add: this song was, I don't remember what the finish time was, 6 minutes and something. The original song they presented was over 8 minutes long.
Oh,
and they, because of the record company pressure, they had to trim it back to 6.5 minutes, but it was even longer in its original version. And there is I'm pretty sure the original version did surface on YouTube after Jeff Nichols died. I think somebody that was handling his estate leaked it. So there is a longer version out there. But it is a long, you know, epic type song as well. But
the thing is, even though it's 6.5 minutes long, I think there's so much going on in that song.
It was longer, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does. It feels a lot longer, and that usually you'd say if something feels longer than it is, it would be boring, but it ain't. It's just they've crammed so much into the 6.5 minutes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Brilliant, mate. 9. That surprised me actually. 9. Say the truth.
Yeah.
What you got then, Jack?
Well, I mean, this song and Silent Southern Cross are both obviously they go for the same sort of thing, weren't they? And this was obviously the original one. I love this song. It's not just one of the best Sabbath songs. It's one of the best songs in metal, isn't it? It just, you wanted sort of one of them songs someone describing metal to someone, you could play in this song. It's brilliant. I like it. It's not for me one of those songs that's overplayed too much. It's one I can listen to again, not like a Sweet Child of Mine or something like that. I'm not bored with this song. Perhaps they play it over in America more than over here, but no, it's brilliant for me. I'll give it 10. Could be a 10.
Okay. It's funny we're talking about overplayed. If you said to me, out of both of these albums, you know, you gave me a choice what song to play, that's the one I wouldn't play because I've overplayed it. You know, probably my own fault. Do you know what I mean? Hearing Dio do it all them years, Sabbath doing it, and I it's the most overplayed song for me out of this whole lot. And if you gave me a choice of what song not to play, it'd probably be that one. I was trying to look past that to what the actual song, how good the actual fucking song is.
Yeah.
And I've given it a 10 because it's so fucking good. tried not to think about my own fault overplaying it. Do you know what I mean? But because it is the perfect song, really. But yeah, I could do, you know, I'd rather listen to Lady Evil than that, because Lady Evil is a lot more fresher for me.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? It probably don't.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's, if you actually look at the song as it is, it's a 10 for me. But you know, it's not Don't Stop Believing, like you said, or Welcome to the Jungle. It's not as overplayed as that. But you know, that's excruciating, isn't it, when you hear that? Welcome to the Jungle or Sweet Child of Mine. You know, that's just so if I put Heaven and Hell on, I'll still get into it. But I'd think, you know, I could do with others more. But it's a brilliant song. Okay, we go on a bit of a weird one now. So this is a bit weird, this one. I don't know how you guys are going to mark this one, but it's E5 or E5150 or E5150, whatever you want to say, the instrumental.
Yeah, to me, this is just the intro to Mob Rules. I think a lot of this, they came out with these little instrumental things to kind of give Jeff Nichols a showcase, you know, on each album when he joined. They did instrumentals, you know, back in the Ozzy days. You had Embryo and Orchid and stuff like that, but they were more, you know, guitar type instrumentals. This kind of stuff, you know, they really started doing when Jeff Nichols, you know, joined full time as a keyboardist. They didn't have anything on Heaven and Hell, but you had E5150 on this. Born Again had 2 of them. You know, each Seventh Star had Stonehenge. You know, each one of those albums up until I think Tear was the last one where they did that one little instrumental intro to a song. They're cool for what they are. I mean, I can't rank them like I do a regular song. I'll give it a 6 for what it is. I think it's, like I said, a great intro to Mob Rules, but I almost wish they hadn't given them titles and make you think you're getting another song. Because like I said, with the Born Again album, you look at it and I don't remember how many tracks it had total, but it turns out 2 of the songs on there are just these little instrumental snippets. That was kind of a letdown, but you know, it's a good intro to that song, kind of like Abyss is to, you know, To Hell with the Devil with Piper. But on its own, it's not, you know, it doesn't mean a whole lot, but as an intro to the next song, I think it serves its purpose.
Agrees. Okay, cool, mate. 6, what you got in, Jam?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say exactly the same as Mark said. I see it as an intro to Mob Rules, really. I put 2 songs together. So from that point of view, I think it's difficult to not like it, I guess, because it fits in. But I would have opened the album with this. I think it's strange they put it sort of towards the end of the first side of the record, as it would have been in those days. I think they should have opened with this and gone straight to Mob Rules. I think that would be much better opening for the album. But it's quite good. It's sort of spacey, robotic. It's I quite like it. I mean, I wouldn't skip it, put it that way. But yeah, I've given it a 7. It's sort of there. You know.
Okay, mate. Yeah, I mean, look, my view's exactly the same as yours. I look at it as this almost the same track. Would have been cool if they actually just said it was Mob Rules and that was it. It was on the beginning or a bit shorter or whatever. But I gave it a 5. Just trying to do it standalone, it ain't easy. But I've given it a 5. So okay. So this next one's interesting as well. Going back to Heaven and Hell, we got Wishing Well.
Wishing Well, I think this is one of the most commercial sounding songs the Dio ever did, or Sabbath in general. I mean, this song very well could have been on a, you know, on the radio, you know, as a single. It, you know, probably would have appealed to the radio audience at the time who wasn't fully entrenched in, you know, the metal that, you know, came later. And again, it kind of sounds like a Rainbow leftover. But I love the song. Definitely got a bouncy vibe to it. I'll give it an 8.
Nice, good score. Yeah, it's probably one of the most. We talks about overplayed songs. Probably one of the underplayed songs.
Yeah,
when this album came out for most people. But What you got then, Jem?
Yeah, I mean, I quite like it. It's fasterish pace, isn't it? It's got a bit of a good groove to it. I think I prefer it to Lady Evil, but you know, it's certainly not one of the strongest songs on there for me. I'm going to give it. Well, I gave Lady Evil 6, so I'm giving this a 7. So yeah, I definitely prefer it slightly, but yeah, nothing out of this world.
Yeah, I sort of. I mean, we are sort of thinking very much the same along the same lines of most of these tracks. But yeah, I'm with you on this. It's a good heavy rock track, very catchy. One of the most underplayed songs from me when I was growing up, I would say. But I really like it now. I'll give it a 7 as well. Okay, so moving on.
Pretty similar, aren't we?
Me and you are very similar. Probably just the way you're scoring it. That's all it is. It's you know. Okay.
Obviously, my prejudice is kind of coming out on some of these scores. You know, I try to mix it up a little bit, but
you know what? It doesn't really matter. The separate scores don't really matter because you know it's still going to come out the same result, isn't it? Whether you like one or not, the other better. So, all right, go on to the title track, "The Mob Rules." Yeah, what you got there, Mark?
Very fast, brutal. You know, this is one of the heaviest tracks of the Dio era for sure. And this is the only other one, this and Heaven and Hell, that I occasionally still hear on the radio. Not too often, but once in a blue moon, it does pop up. And of course, my ears perk up and I have to crank it up to 11 when I hear it come on the radio. But I don't put it at the top of the list, but I do love the song. I'm gonna stick with the 8 that I gave Wishing Well on this one.
Okay, mate. Cool. What you got then, Jan?
Yeah, I mean, as I said just now, I think I would have had E5150 and Mob Rules as opening the album. I think it's a good opening album song because of the pace.
I agree. With that, yeah.
Classic. I still love this song. It's not. It's one of the best on the albums, but it's not the best. So I think I will give it a 9.
Cool. I mean, I didn't like this when I was younger. I didn't like this one. I thought it was almost throwaway a little bit. This song when I was younger. I think I like it more now. Like as I've grown older, I think it is really heavy, like you said. And that bass in this, it's just mad. You know, the sound of the bass across the whole album. It's so like, especially on Mob Rules, it's even louder than it was on Heaven and Hell. Really bassy album. But I do like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I've liked it more as I got older, but I'm going to give it a 7.5. All right. Okay. Going back to Heaven and Hell, I think this could have been the first song I heard from this actual album. It's Die Young. Well, Mark, what you got?
Great song. I just cut to the chase. I got to give it a 10. I can't give it anything any lower than that. It's just another one that, you know, is so identified with the Dio era, obviously. Just when I hear Dio Sabbath, that's one of the ones that pop into my head. Nothing to improve on as far as I'm concerned. Just love the song.
Yeah, it is a classic, mate. Brilliant, mate. A 10. Cool. What you got in, Jem?
Yeah, I love this song as well. Love the keyboard, slow intro, and then sort of jump scare into the fast-paced ripping song that it is. I mean, this is the one I was on about. I would have had this opening the album, Head of Neon Nights. I like both, obviously, but I would have opened with this. It's even faster and even more metal, if you like. Yeah, so it's not perfect, but it's definite 9 for me.
9, cool. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think this was the first song I heard. I can remember my brother again having, I think, the 12-inch single of this and seeing, I think it was a live picture of him. And I think Ronnie was standing there like in a white, almost long shirt, you know, all in white. Thinking it was so fucking mysterious to me, you know. I mean, the way bands looked back then, looking at the album cover and all that, and all that single cover. Yeah. And yeah, it's mad in places, isn't it? But it's got epic bits, and it's got, you know, just the way that first chorus slows down to a standstill. It's just completely different for anyone was doing then. I mean, I am a low scorer, as you know, but this is a really good score for me. I've given it an 8.5. It's an excellent song. Okay, moving on to Mob Rules. We've got Country Girl. I think you like this one, Mark. You like this one, didn't you?
Yeah, I was just about to say this may surprise some people, but this is actually my favorite song on Mob Rules. Talk about underplayed, or ignored, or whatever you want to call it. But just love the riff in that, and I like that mellow part that he goes into. In dreams, I think of you, don't know what to do with myself. I just love the transition in that song. That's one of the ones that to this day, when I hear it, it just gives me chills. So overlooked. They didn't include it on Live Evil, obviously, but just highly underrated, that should have gotten more exposure than it did.
Yeah.
And another one about the magical, mystical woman.
Yeah. Well, you got a score then, mate?
Oh, yeah. I guess I better give you a score. 10.
10. Oh.
Fuck me. He loves Sabbath, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. This I may not be given a fair
no. Mate, if you love it
so
that
hard,
much. No, that's cool. If you love it that much, that's it. Well, you then, Jam? Do you love it as much as a 10?
Yeah, I like it as well. I think it's, as Mark says, got a cracking riff to it. I'm not sure about the title. I don't think Black Sabbath should have songs called Country Girl.
It is a bit odd, I'll admit that.
Yeah. But I like it just a bit different. It's got a good groove to it, hasn't it? I think I prefer it to Turn Up Night and Voodoo. Well, I do on the scoring, but it's one of the best songs on the album. I really like it, and I've given it an 8.
Nice. I mean, I really like it. I mean, I like everything about both these albums anyway. I don't see it as one of the stronger tracks. I almost see it as a bit lyrically like Lady Evil. I sort of feel the same about the song as well. I like the way it sort of follows, the guitar sort of follows Dio's voice, doesn't it? It's quite cool. I've given it a 7, but that's good for me. So a 7 for Country Girl for me. And then we go on to maybe the most underplayed song on the album, or the most least well known, maybe the deepest cut on Heaven and Hell, and that's Walk Away. Perhaps the most deepest cut, I reckon. What you got there, Mark?
Yeah, for sure, I would agree with that. Another one got a bouncy feel to it, but very commercial, very, again, could have been a good radio track. I'll give it a 7.
Yeah. Almost classic rock, this one, isn't it? It's the classic rock feel. Yeah. What you got then, Jam?
Yeah, well, I think there's a reason why it's probably not played that much. I think it's because it's not particularly very good. It's all right. It's just a mid-paced plodding song. Certainly not my favourite on the album, but not the worst. It's got the same score as Lady Evil, and I'm giving it 6.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
you got to think of it. You got to think of it like this, compared to the absolutely brilliant tracks on these songs. I mean, on these albums. Some of these songs, Walk Away, Wishing Well, Voodoo, they pale in comparison to the absolute top songs. But think about it like this: if another band had released these songs, it might have been the best song they ever released. So I try to put it in perspective when I listen to like Walk Away. I'm like, that's not Sign of the Southern Cross, but it's light years ahead of a lot of the shit that was,
I agree,
played on the radio every day that people loved. And, again, nobody ever heard Walk Away other than the true Sabbath fans. If it had ever been played on the radio, it might have been a huge hit. But I try to rationalize it like that. Maybe totally not agree. A great Sabbath song, but a great song, across the board.
Totally agree there, mate. So I mean, I scored this. This is the weakest track. I scored this the weakest track on Heaven and Hell at 6.5. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Look, I if it comes on, I actually don't mind it. Like I said, very underplayed. Probably the most underplayed song for me when I was growing up. Okay, we move to Mark's favourite track on Mob Rules.
Oh God!
I knew you knew we was going to get round to this one, mate. Right? Okay, so you've got
this one.
Slipping Away.
This one's painful. I've said it before. This is the only song from the Dio era that I just have an active dislike for. There are a couple on Dehumanizer and The Devil You Know that that I'm not in love with, but I don't actively dislike them. Slipping Away just does almost does absolutely nothing for me. The reason I say that, I listened to this song from start to finish probably 4 or 5 times this past week. After I knew we were going to do this, I said I've got to give it a fresh listen.
I might listen before you say it. I reckon I know what you're going to say, what you like about it.
Okay. Well,
is it that really is that really catchy chorus, isn't it? Slipping away.
Okay. I mean, the chorus,
is it that bit?
The chorus doesn't bother me, but what I was going to say, through the years, this has always been one that I immediately hit skip as soon as I hear that opening riff. The riff itself doesn't do much for me. Just by Sabbath standards, by Tony Iommi standards, it's just a mediocre, riff. It just doesn't grab me. This song definitely sounds like a filler. Maybe they had some tape they needed to fill up at the last minute, and they said, "All right, we've got to come up with something." That's what this song sounds like to me. But what I will say, and I have not really noticed too much in recent years, it does showcase the musicianship of Tony, Geezer, and Vinny. Later in the song, they all get their little spot to shine, so to speak. There's that place where Tony will do a lead, and then Tony stops, and Geezer kicks in with a bass solo. And then Vinny, throughout the song, he's like an octopus on those drums. So, and that's another thing I was going to say. Both of these albums, Bill was on the first album, Vinny's on this album. Both of these albums are a master class in drumming, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Slipping Away. It highlights how good they are as musicians. If I get past I don't care for the verses. I don't care too much for the chorus. But that section that highlights the musicianship of Tony, Geezer, and Vinny, I'll give it credit for that. Anyway, I'm beating around the bush here. I got to give it a 4. I'm not gonna rank it 1. I believe might have been expecting me to say that's a 1, but I mean, again, it's not a terrible song. I guess if I put it in the context of some other band coming out with it, but compared to the brilliance on all the other songs, on these 2 albums, it's like a sore thumb. It just kind of sticks out. And somebody loves it because I looked at some of the YouTube, uploads of it, and there are people in the comments, blows my mind. Oh, my favorite song of all time, the best Sabbath song ever written. Same thing with fucking Backtalk.
Oh, fuck off. I was gonna say there's only one song, there's only one thing it ain't as bad of, and that's Journey's Backtalk. It ain't as bad as
even that one. If you look at the comments, there are people that love that song. It just blows my mind how people's ears hear things differently.
Yeah,
and that's great. That's what makes the world go around. We can't all like the same stuff. Jam doesn't like Stryper. We love Stryper. Some of the stuff Jam listens to, I can't listen to. So, that's great. Yeah. That's what makes the world go round. But
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, Slipping Away, I got to give it a 4.
A 4. Cool, mate. I knew I couldn't wait to get round to Slipping Away, to tell you the truth. I could really
it's painful to rank a Sabbath, a Dio Sabbath song that low. But.
Okay, Jam, what you got then? What do you think of Slipping Away?
Well, my sentiments echo Mark's really, and I'm just going to read out my notes. Nothing special, riff okay, not a big fan of the chorus. So there you go.
What score you got?
Sorry, but I'm not going to be as harsh. It's not terrible, but it's only a 6 for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go with both of you on this. The only saving grace for me, and I actually forgot about that great bit of musicianship. You're right about that, Mark. I mean, that bass when it comes in as well, that's just really heavy. Yeah. But I do like the chorus, not the just the bit that goes slipping away. I find it quite catchy, that bit. But then it goes back into that. No, easy to see, right? Because I'm slipping away. Then it goes back into that. And I don't like that bit. I really don't like that bit. I've given it a 5 though, so I've gone in between you two. So I haven't gone quite 4.
Okay.
I haven't gone 6.
That's fair.
5. Okay, so we go on to the we've obviously got 8 tracks on Heaven and Hell. This is the last track. Well, lonely is the word. What do you reckon then, Mark?
My favorite track on Heaven and Hell.
Wow.
Absolutely love this song. I meant to mention early on, seems like most of my favorite, not all, but most of my favorite Dio era songs are those slow to mid paced, just epic type songs. The feeling, I mean, Ronnie, we all know Ronnie was just a brilliant singer, but the feeling he put into these songs, especially these slower ones, it really made you feel, made you feel something. Out of every singer Sabbath had, I think he was the best at that, making you feel what he was singing. And I think the strength of that Dio era were these slow to mid pace songs. Again, I love Neon Nights. I love Die Young. Love the faster stuff as well. But he seemed to shine, especially on these slower songs. Lonely is the word. I love the lyrics put into that song. Especially the part where he talks about, I've been higher than stardust. I've been seen upon the sun. I mean, when I hear that, it just gives me chills just hearing some of the lyrics that he came up with. And, again, almost a ballad type song. In fact, did you include that in one of our ballad shows?
Probably. So we're probably trying to get away.
It was either this one or another one we're going to talk about. That. But anyway, just almost bordering on a ballad, but it's got that power to it. And just absolutely love it. And again, another one that's highly overlooked. Never got. I don't know if they ever played it live or not. I guess they probably did at some point, but just love it. I'll give it a 10.
Yep, got a 10, mate. Okay, cool. All right, Jam.
Yeah, I love the song as well. I've got a great opening riff to it, which I really like. I've got ballad ? Is it a ballad? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's sort of border. It doesn't really matter, does it? It's certainly a slower song, and I just love the guitar solo. Quite bluesy, isn't it? It's just an epic song. One of those, another one that feels perhaps longer than it is, but it's a great way to close the album. Rather than having a big blast out with a fast song, closing it with something a bit slower and sort of bookending, I guess, the album, if you like. So yeah, I really like it, and I've given it an 8.
Okay, mate.
You mentioned that riff. That allegedly is Tony's all-time favorite.
Oh,
riff.
right. There you go. Cool.
Or the solo. I'm sorry, the solo. That long.
Yes.
Extended.
There's 2 in there. There's almost 2 solos because Roddy comes in and a bit of singing, doesn't he? So,
I've read a couple of places that's his favorite of all the solos he's done over the years.
Yeah, it's great.
His favorite. So that says a lot.
Yeah, you guys have said it all. I've given it a 10. It's just fucking brilliant, that song. I absolutely love that song. Okay, yeah, that rounds off Heaven and Hell. So we go on. We've got to talk about 2 tracks on Bob Ross. So we go to Mark for Falling Off the Edge of the World.
Yeah, that's another one that just I gotta give it a 10. Love the way it starts off slow and then builds, and when it kicks in, it kicks your teeth. You know, just amazing. I love the transition in it. Just very powerful song. Unfortunately, another one that just didn't get played a lot.
Yeah, 10. Good. What you got in, Jam?
Yeah, another great song. Another slow opening. Another one. We've said it a few times, haven't we? The Sound's got an epic song. Sounds like it's about 10 minutes long, but it isn't. You know, it's not in a bad way. You know, it sounds epic. It's got the beginning, middle, and end to it, sort of thing. Huge guitar solo, which is awesome in it as well. And yes, one of the best songs on the album. I've got to give it a 9.
9. Cool. Well, I mean, this is a fucking brilliant song. I mean, from that beginning bit, like you said, that next bit before it goes into the fast bit is just the slowest, doomiest bit I think they've ever done. It almost stops. It's that slow. It's fucking brilliant. And then that riff, like you said, you know, it's just mad. It's got to be another one of Tony Iommi's favorite riffs, surely. That is just relentless, and the way it comes in, and then it's so fast but brilliant. It's my favorite Dio era Sabbath song. That is Falling Off the Edge of the World.
Cool.
It's just brilliant. So I'll give it a 10. And then we move on to the last track. This is the actual one I said was a ballad on our ballad show. Yeah, you're right, Mark.
I knew it was one of the. I couldn't remember which one, but yeah.
Over and Over.
Yeah, it's funny how they started these two albums the same and they ended them the same. They start off with that fast, Neon Nights and Turn Up the Night, and then they end them with Lonely Is the Word and Over and Over. Another one that, like you said, a ballad type song, very, very moody. You can feel the anguish, in his voice as he's singing these lyrics. Those two songs are very similar to me. They remind me of each other and the structure. And again, another incredible Iommi solo. Just a great way to end the album, and sound like a broken record, but I got to give it a 10.
Cool. Cheers, mate. What do you reckon on Over and Over, Jam?
Yeah, I mean, Mark's covered it there. They're obviously going for the same sort of vibe as Lonely in the World. I think it's the best Ronnie's vocals on this song. Obviously, you could say it for anything. I think on this album, certainly, it's his best vocals, I think, on this album, and possibly on both of them. Guitar solos we covered on brilliant. Blues, quite bluesy again. I'm going to give it the same score as Lonely as a Word, but I think I actually slightly prefer this song, actually. But I'm still going to give it an 8, but it's a brilliant song. They're very, very close, those two, if you wanted to score against each other. So I'll give them the same mark, but I possibly prefer it to Lonely Is the Word.
It's probably the most saddest song out of the whole two albums, I think. Sad sounding. It's almost like Dio's in pain on this, it's just fucking absolutely brilliant. I've given it a 9. I mean, it's very close to a 10 for me. It's a real grower as well. I can listen to this time and time again, this song. It just never gets boring.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. So that's all the scores done, guys. I'm going to top these up now. Off camera, I've totted up the scores. So Heaven and Hell first. So Mark, you scored overall 71.5. Okay, so that's 8 tracks. Jam, you scored 63. I scored 66. So in total, that comes to 200.5. Divided by 24, which is the amount of tracks, it comes to 8.35. So 8.35 out of 10. Basically, Heaven and Hell got good score. Mark, you scored 72 on Mob Rules. Remember, this is 9 tracks. Jam, you scored 70. I scored 68. A total of 210. So just beat Heaven and Hell, obviously, in the scoring department, but more tracks. So divided by 27 comes to 7.777 reoccurring. So we got 8.35 for Heaven and Hell, 7.77 for Mob Rules. Not that far behind though. And I think,
no,
you know, if most Sabbath fans or most fans of metal in general probably think that Heaven and Hell is probably quite a way in front of Mob Rules, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I think they're quite close, and that's why I wanted to do an album battle. I had a feeling that it was going to be Heaven and Hell would win, but it's quite interesting to see how close it is. Both great albums, obviously. So just the classics. But Heaven and Hell's the winner. It's the winner. So I mean, I really love doing this. I think it's really cool. We're going to do some more. I'd like people in the comments below to really give us a bit of a, you know, challenge to a couple of albums maybe that we can do. But remember, they've got to be really popular for a start. This is classic album battle, by the way, you know, and it's got to be maybe from the same band or two albums that are looked at as very similar from different bands, but could, you know, as good as each other. So we can do another classic album battle. So guys, really enjoyed this. You enjoy yourself?
Yes, I do.
That was cool.
Very cool indeed. We had to start off with Sabbath, didn't we? So we will get together again, do another classic album battle. But yeah, give us some ideas underneath, guys. Obviously, let us know. Either rank the tracks on both albums or just let us know what one's your favourite. So, all right. All right. Thanks, guys. Cheers, then. I'll see you next time.
Cheers.